Most people think they live in a free market, that the prices of homes, cars, and groceries are determined by supply and demand, that the value of the dollar comes from the strength of the US economy. But behind the curtain, there's an institution shaping nearly every aspect of our financial lives. It's called the Federal Reserve. And it's neither federal, nor does it hold any real reserves. The story begins in secrecy. In 1910, a group of bankers and politicians met in total privacy on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. They told the public they were going duck hunting, but they were really designing what would become the Federal Reserve System. 3 years later, in 1913, the Federal Reserve Act was passed during the Christmas recess when most of Congress wasn't even in session. That same year, the United States introduced something we'd never had before: the federal income tax. Coincidence? Maybe not. Because for the first time in history, the American taxpayer would underwrite the debts of the federal government, and by extension, the Federal Reserve itself. The Federal Reserve's product is simple, but incredibly powerful. It creates debt. When the government spends more than it earns, it borrows by issuing treasury bonds. The Fed, the Federal Reserve, buys that debt, creating money out of thin air to do so. In today's world, it's mostly digital, not stacks of cash, just numbers on a screen. That new money enters the financial system. But here's the problem: it doesn't flow evenly. It starts at the top. Banks, hedge funds, and corporations get access to cheap credit first. By the time that money trickles down to regular people, the price to borrow that money, the interest rate, is much higher. This is important. Each time a new dollar is printed from debt, it dilutes or devalues the existing dollars. We the people, experience the process of inflation, which is increasing the money supply, devaluing those dollars as higher prices. This is a trickle-down economic scheme that does not invest or save for the future, or increase productive capacity, or invest in vital projects, but speculates. It has turned the markets into a casino of betting and speculation. This is how central bank policy fuels inflation, asset bubbles, and wealth inequality. When you make money cheap for those who already own assets, stocks, real estate, businesses, the value of those assets explodes. Meanwhile, the average worker's wages lag behind, while private equity, large corporations, and the wealthy continue to see their valuations go higher. If you feel like you're working harder than ever but can't keep up, that's not your imagination. That's monetary policy. The federal government overspending, sinking us in debt, is only possible because of the Federal Reserve. Politicians can promise endless programs, wars, and bailouts because they don't have to raise taxes, at least not immediately. They can simply borrow and let the Fed handle the printing. But remember, debt doesn't disappear. It's just pushed onto the future, meaning our children and their children are being billed for today's excesses. It's a form of intergenerational theft. It's one of the great moral paradoxes of our time. The Federal Reserve's policies have created the illusion of prosperity: rising stocks, booming real estate, and endless government spending. But the bill always comes due. Young people can't afford homes. Savers are punished by near zero interest rates. And the wealth gap widens with every stimulus and bailout. We are, in effect, tax and debt slaves. Not because capitalism or socialism, but because of centrally planned money. Despite its immense power, the Federal Reserve has never been fully audited by Congress. It operates with extraordinary independence, setting the price of money itself, influencing global markets, and deciding who gets bailed out when things go wrong. And yet, ask the average American what the Fed actually does, and you'll likely get a blank stare. It's a secret hiding in plain sight. A system so ingrained, so normalized, so protected, that questioning it feels almost silly. It is a glaring example of institutional corruption. And what backs this system? Not gold, not silver, but the US military and the faith of taxpayers. The dollar's dominance is enforced globally through trade, treaties, and when necessary, through force. The United States can spend beyond its means because the world still accepts our debt, US treasuries and dollars, as money. But this is being challenged. Other countries are growing tired of financing our excesses and dominance. Every one of us feels the effects of central banking policy. Through rent, through grocery bills, through student loans and taxes, and anything inflation touches. And yet, the conversation rarely points to the root cause. Instead, politicians blame greedy corporations or socialist programs. When the truth is, we the people are feeling the consequences of a monetary system addicted to easy credit. It's corrupted money, a system of debt, greed, and excess. The Federal Reserve is not a conspiracy. It's an institution. But it's one that operates largely outside democratic accountability. Its actions shape markets, governments, and generations. And few truly understand it. Maybe it's time we all did. As Mayor Amschel Rothschild said, "Give me control over a nation's currency, and I care not who makes its laws." Because if money is power, then whoever controls the money controls everything. Understanding this isn't about politics. It's about freedom. And until we understand the money system we live under, we'll never truly be free from it.